Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tracking something pretty serious, a rapidly intensifying storm system, a nor'easter, making its way up the mid-Atlantic coast.
Yeah, and it's already packing a punch. We're seeing reports, sources showing significant rainfall, really damaging wind gusts.
And that coastal flooding threat is already very real. Ocean water pushing into homes, onto roads. It's happening now.
Absolutely. So our mission today really is to get you up to speed quickly. We need to synthesize what the specific risks are, and there are several.
Right.
Understand what makes this storm maybe a bit different, kind of unique. Its nature is key to why it's so severe.
And why it's already causing such chaos for travel, right?
Yeah.
Boston, New York, D.C. flights are getting hit hard.
Exactly. This isn't just a run-of-the-mill storm. It's complex and dangerous.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Before we get to the impacts moving north, let's cover the basics. For someone listening, maybe inland, what exactly is a nor'easter? Why is that name itself a warning sign for the coast?
It's actually pretty straightforward. It's all about wind direction. The name nor'easter literally comes from the dominant wind direction blowing from the northeast ahead of the storm center.
Okay, from the northeast.
And that specific direction. Well, that's the whole problem for the coastline. It's about geography, simple mechanics.
Because the U.S. East Coast is angled almost perfectly to catch that wind, like a scoop.
Precisely. Think about it. If the wind blew strongly from the south, it would actually pull water away from the shore.
Right, offshore wind.
But when you get these powerful, sustained winds coming out of the northeast, they blow across a long stretch of open ocean water. We call that the fetch.
Okay.
The longer that fetch, the more time and distance the wind has to transfer its energy to the water surface. It literally pushes a huge mass of water towards the land.
So the name itself tells you the mechanism. That northeast wind is the danger, driving the storm surge, the coastal erosion, even before you factor in heavy rain.
That's it, exactly. That sustained push builds up the water levels, floods low areas, and just chews away at the beaches. It's the classic destructive signature of a bad nor'easter.
Okay, let's shift gears to the immediate impacts, what people are feeling right now or will be very soon. Let's start with the wind. Infrastructure, travel. Gusts are the enemy here. What are the sources telling us about readings so far?
Well, we've seen some pretty high numbers already, especially down south where it hit first. North Carolina reported gusts over 50 miles per hour.
Okay.
And the highest one recorded, I believe, was at Cape Lookout. 61 miles per hour?
61. That's serious wind.
It really is. And while 61 mile per hour on an exposed cape is one thing.
Right, it's isolated there.
Exactly. But when you take those kinds of forces and apply them to, say, older power lines, tree limbs over roads, bridges, and densely populated areas like New Jersey or Long Island.
The risk multiplies.
Yeah.
Dramatically.
Oh, absolutely. The potential for structural damage and definitely widespread power outages just skyrockets. And the forecast shows these strong winds pushing further north through Sunday, getting into those more populated inland areas, too.
So power outages are almost a given, especially right along the coast.
A near certainty, I'd say. Yeah.
And that leads straight into the travel nightmare. Our sources, CNN included, are painting a picture of major disruption across the Northeast. If you're listening and have plans for Sunday or Monday.
Well, you should expect problems. Significant problems. If you're trying to fly anywhere in that Boston to D.C. corridor, expect delays, expect cancellations. It's highly likely.
So Logan, JFK, Newark, Dulles, Reagan National, all of them bracing for it.
All the major hubs, yes. The windy conditions are just going to make operations very difficult, probably into Monday.
That's effectively shutting down, or at least severely slowing down, the busiest air corridor in the country. It's more than just missed vacations.
Oh, much more. Think about freight, business travel. The whole flow of commerce up and down the East Coast gets choked off, even temporarily.
There's a real economic ripple when those hubs seize up.
Immediate and national, yeah. The sheer volume handled there means this storm is kind of putting the brakes on the Northeast's economy for a bit.
Okay, now let's get into the water threat, because this is where our deep dive shows it's not just one thing, it's a double threat, right? Coastal surge and inland rain. Let's start coastally. You mentioned near-decade highs. How bad could the flooding get?
The predictions are quite alarming, actually. For Sunday afternoon, maybe into Monday, parts of the coast, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey, could see water levels reach heights not seen in almost 10 years.
Wow. Not seen in almost a decade.
Yeah.
That's major inundation territory.
It really is. This isn't just, water splashing over a bulkhead. This scale means significant flooding of coastal communities.
So definitely not your average high tide or minor coastal flood event.
Oh, far from it. And remember, you're combining that huge surge with the relentless onshore wind and intense rain falling at the same time.
That's the destructive combination.
That's what leads to rapid beach erosion. And critically, water getting into homes and businesses onto roads that maybe haven't flooded like this in, well, nearly 10 years. It really stresses emergency resources.
And the danger doesn't stop at the beach. This system is also forecast to dump enough rain to cause serious inland river flooding.
What are the numbers there? River gauges.
Yeah, this was maybe the most startling piece of data we found in the sources. The forecast predicts that more than 20 separate river gauge stations will exceed severe flood levels.
20. More than 20 stations.
That's the prediction, hitting either the moderate or even the major flood stage.
Okay, hang on. For the listener, can you quickly explain the difference? What does major flood stage mean compared to just, say, minor flooding?
Sure. Minor flooding might be water in yards, maybe covering a few secondary roads. Annoying, but usually manageable.
But when a river gauge hits moderate or major flood stage, that's a whole different level of threat. We're talking about water getting into primary structures, homes, businesses. It often requires significant rescue efforts, evacuations.
So serious property damage, potential danger to life,
Yeah.
major disruption to communities, roads, utilities.
Exactly. It's a very serious situation when you see forecasts calling for that many gauges to hit those levels.
So just to recap the water threat, we've got potentially historic coastal flooding near 10-year highs and major inland river flooding impacting over 20 locations simultaneously.
Correct. A powerful dual assault.
Which areas are really in the crosshairs for this combined threat? Where's the bullseye?
The highest risk zone seems to stretch from the Virginia Tidewater area up through Delaware and then pretty deep into southern New Jersey. Those regions face that triple threat most intensely: the damaging winds, the big coastal surge, and that life-threatening inland river flooding.
Okay, let's shift to the storm's identity itself, because this is where it gets technically interesting, and it helps explain why the inland flooding is predicted to be so bad. Is this storm tropical? Did it start like a hurricane?
No, that's important. The sources, like the Weather Channel, are clear. It did not originate as a tropical storm. It formed like a more standard low-pressure system, driven by temperature contrasts in the atmosphere. A classic non-tropical setup for a nor'easter.
Okay, non-tropical. But,
It has a twist.
right, why are forecasters talking about it having subtropical qualities? What does that actually mean for how the storm behaves compared to just a regular winter storm?
Right. This is the really critical insight, I think. See, a typical nor'easter is what we call cold core. It gets its energy from those sharp temperature differences, the fronts.
Okay.
But this system is moving and strengthening over unusually warm ocean water for this time of year. And when a non-tropical storm does that, it can start to develop a warm core near its center. It starts to borrow characteristics from tropical systems.
Ah, so it's like a hybrid. It still has the structure of a nor'easter, but it's tapping into that warm water energy source like a tropical storm would.
That's a great way to put it. A hybrid machine. And that change makes it incredibly efficient at producing rain.
How so?
That warm core structure allows the storm to hold and process a tremendous amount of moisture, much more than a purely cold core system typically could. It can sustain heavier rainfall rates over a wider area and for longer.
Uh-huh. So that's the connection. The reason we're seeing predictions for over 20 rivers hitting major flood stage isn't just heavy rain. It's because the storm has become this super efficient water dumping machine due to those subtropical characteristics it picked up.
Precisely. It's a direct link between the storm's evolving structure and the severity of the inland flood threat. It explains the potential for such widespread, intense, and prolonged rainfall well inland from the coast.
That technical detail really clarifies the scale of the danger. It's not just strong winds and coastal surge. It's got this enhanced, almost tropical-like ability to saturate inland areas.
Yeah, you've got the wind and erosion power of a classic nor'easter, but combined with the extreme rainfall potential you might associate more with a slow-moving tropical or subtropical system. It's a potent mix.
Okay, let's try to pull this all together for everyone listening. Based on everything we've covered from the sources, what are the two absolute must-know takeaways about this storm?
I think the defining characteristic really is that simultaneous double-barreled water threat. You've got near-decade high coastal flooding hitting at the same time as potentially catastrophic inland river flooding, with over 20 gauges expected to reach moderate or major stage. That combination is what makes this stand out.
That dual coastal and river threat. Got it.
Yeah.
And the second key takeaway.
That has to be the immediate impact on people and infrastructure, particularly the travel chaos. We're talking major disruptions at the big Northeast airports, Boston, New York, D.C., Sunday and Monday. That means cascading delays nationwide.
And the power outages, too.
And the high winds guaranteeing power outages, complicating everything, especially right on the coast. So severe water threats and major travel infrastructure disruption.
This whole deep dive has really underscored that this isn't just another nor'easter. The complexity, especially that subtropical element, that's what really stands out. The fact that a non-tropical storm can morph like this over warm water.
It really does. And it raises a fascinating, maybe slightly unsettling question for the future, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, if ocean temperatures continue to warm, are we going to see more of these coastal low-pressure systems developing these hybrid subtropical features? Does this become more common?
Meaning these storms could more frequently become these hyper-efficient rain producers.
Potentially, yes. If they can more readily tap into that warm core energy, it could fundamentally change how we need to forecast their intensity, their rainfall potential, their lifespan, maybe even their track. It forces a rethink.
So the provocative thought isn't just about getting through this specific storm.
No, it's about whether this kind of hybrid storm structure represents a new, potentially more dangerous baseline we need to prepare for along the coast moving forward. How does that change infrastructure planning, emergency management?
What does this shift mean for predicting future coastal storms? That's a really crucial question.
It is, and it's something scientists will be studying long after these particular floodwaters go down.
A really important point to end on. Thanks for breaking down this complex situation with us. And to you listening, please stay safe and stay informed. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.